And let's bring in ABC News contributor Elizabeth Newman, a former Homeland Security official in the Trump administration, for more on this. Elizabeth, how significant is this operation, taking out the leader of ISIS?
Well, Diane, certainly 2 years ago when we took out al-Baghdadi, that was extremely significant. The funny thing about Qurayshi is that there's just not that much known about him. In fact, in the early days when he was appointed supposedly as the leader of the caliphate, it was questionable whether he even existed. There were a lot of rumors that he was not real, that he was a made-up person. Clearly, that has proven not to be the case, as we now have evidence that he has been killed. But that kind of tells you a little bit about where we are with ISIS. They do still pose a threat regionally. They do run raids and cause a lot of problems in the Syria and northern Iraq areas, but they're just not the threat that they were 5 years ago. So it's good that we took care of him, and every time that we can diminish ISIS's capabilities is a good thing. It's not nearly as significant as the killing of al-Baghdadi a couple of years ago.
So what does this mean for ISIS now? Is there someone always in line to take over? How does that part work?
Usually there is. As we saw with al-Baghdadi, it appears that he actually handpicked Qurayshi to be his successor. So within a week of Baghdadi dying, the council came together and formally appointed Qurayshi as the new caliph. So I would expect that we would see some attempt at doing a similar activity and naming a new person, but they are weaker. They do not have the capabilities that they once did, and you know, we need to keep putting the pressure on them. That's why it's important that we maintain some presence in that part of the world. So they will continue to try to do what they are trying to do, wreak havoc in that part of the world. But I just don't see this as anything but a further example of their diminishing capabilities.
How much concern does this raise in terms of potential retaliation?
Well, we always are concerned. This part of the country, and Qurayshi is actually a great example. He was originally a part of he was an Iraqi officer under Saddam Hussein. Then he became a part of Al-Qaeda. Then he supposedly worked to help the U.S. government during parts of the fight in Iraq. And then he joined ISIS in 2014. It is kind of well known that in that part of the world, your alliances and your loyalties shift. The problem with that part of the world is a lot of our biggest threats to the homeland have emanated from there. A lot of ideas about how to try to infiltrate our aviation system or how to get people into the homeland. So I do remain concerned that there are people in that part of the world with the intent and desire to cause harm to the U.S. homeland. Thankfully, a lot of our defenses are so much stronger than they used to be, but we have to stay vigilant. And certainly after an attack like this, it does often create cause for certain individuals, especially those that might be here in the homeland already that are sympathetic to ISIS, not members of ISIS, but maybe sympathetic to the cause. This type of thing can sometimes lead to somebody attempting some sort of retaliatory act. So it's definitely a good time for law enforcement to be vigilant.
So, Elizabeth, how much preparation goes into a mission like this, not just on the tactical side of things, but also the decision to move forward?
Oh, I mean, these men and women that are in the special forces are quite phenomenal at what they do. You may remember, and Martha referenced it before, the bin Laden raid, and they build up mock-ups of what they think they will be, what the interior of the building is that they will be having to go into. And what we saw in this raid, from what we have gathered so far, is they made a point to go in with not just do this through aerial attacks. They had boots on the ground to be able to make sure that they got him. That's really important because you don't want to have a false claim that he is dead and then he shows up again. That obviously defeats some of not only your intent to take him out, but it also it has a psychological impact on those who are siding with ISIS. So it's really important that when you say that he is dead, that he is in fact dead. So that's why they needed to put boots on the ground. So they do a ton of preparation and build up mock-ups of what the building might be like. They, I'm assuming, probably knew that there were going to be what we would consider civilians, though I would assume that's probably family members. So there's an argument to be made whether they are truly civilian. But, you know, it is sad. It is sad to hear that there were children and women that were killed. But the special forces are prepared for that. They know that that's probably what they are walking into. We know that these terrorists tend to take a lot of wives, tend to have a lot of children, and also use women and children to protect themselves. So there's not usually a lot of options. And doing it at night usually reduces the loss of life, protects our soldiers, but still very sad to see that we had women and children killed.
All right, Elizabeth Newman, always great to have your analysis. Elizabeth, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.